Picture this. You're standing in a dark, musty library. The scent of ancient parchment hangs in the air. You run your hand along a shelf lined with medieval books when your fingers brush against one that feels different. It's bound in an old calfskin. The pages are thick, stained with time. You open it, and what you see makes your skin prickle. The pages are filled with a language no one has ever spoken. Curvy, looping letters dance across the parchment in lines that make no sense, yet look so deliberate, like they hold secrets meant to stay hidden. And around the text are drawings, strange plants that don't exist in any botany record, star charts that don't match any known constellation, tiny naked women bathing in green pools of liquid that flow through bizarre, maze-like plumbing. This is the Voynich Manuscript, a book so mysterious it's driven some of the world's greatest minds to obsession, ruin, and even madness. The story of this manuscript begins, at least for us, in 1912. Wilfred Voynich, a Polish rare book dealer, was digging through a trunk of old volumes at a Jesuit college in Italy. And that's when he found it. He knew instantly he'd stumbled onto something extraordinary. He didn't know what it was, nobody did, but he could tell this wasn't just another forgotten medieval herbal. It was something older, stranger, maybe even more dangerous. Voynich brought the book back to London, and that's where the obsession began. He enlisted scholars, cryptographers, linguists, anyone who might crack its code. But page after page, theory after theory, it all ended the same way. Failure. Nobody could read it. The text seemed to obey some hidden logic. There were repeating words, sentence structures, but it matched no known language, no cipher, no code. Soon, the manuscript's legend grew. People began tracing its story backward in time. The earliest confirmed owner was Georg Baresch, a 17th century alchemist in Prague. Baresch was so baffled by the book that he sent desperate letters to the great Jesuit scholar Athanasius Kircher, hoping he could read it. Kircher claimed he could crack Egyptian hieroglyphs. He couldn't, but the Voynich? He never cracked that either. Before Baresch, the trail goes cold. But there's one tantalizing clue. A letter found tucked inside suggests it once belonged to Emperor Rudolph II of the Holy Roman Empire. Rudolph was a notorious collector of oddities. He paid a small fortune in gold for this one book, believing it was the work of Roger Bacon, a 13th century English friar rumored to dabble in forbidden sciences. That alone gave the manuscript an aura of dark power. Imagine, a secret book written by an occult genius centuries ahead of his time. But what does the Voynich actually say? Hundreds of experts have tried to answer that question. During World War II, some of the same codebreakers who cracked the German Enigma machine spent their nights trying to decode the Voynich. They got nowhere. Since then, amateur sleuths and professional linguists alike have poured their lives into it. Some say it's an elaborate hoax, a medieval joke designed to separate fools from their gold. But if it's a hoax, it's a brilliant one. The text is too complex, too consistent. Statistical analyses show patterns similar to natural languages, yet it matches nothing we know. And the images only deepen the mystery. Look at the plants. Some look almost familiar, distant cousins of real herbs, but there's always something impossible. A leaf growing backwards, a flower blooming from the root, a stem that splits into something that shouldn't exist. Then there's the astronomical section, star charts and zodiac symbols that don't align with any known calendar or sky map. And those naked women soaking in connected pools and tubes. Some believe they represent alchemical processes, the transformation of elements, or some lost knowledge of the human body. But no one knows for sure. In 2016, a professor claimed the Voynich was written in an extinct Mexican dialect. A few years later, an AI algorithm suggested it might be a form of Proto-Romance language, like a fossilized Latin evolving into something else. But these theories fall apart under closer scrutiny. Each time someone claims a breakthrough, it crumbles under the weight of the evidence, or lack of it. So who wrote it? And why? One theory says it's a medicinal text, a secret pharmacopoeia disguised to keep its recipes hidden. Another believes it's an alchemical guide, a roadmap to turning base metals into gold, symbols hidden inside nonsense words. Some say it's a work of outsider art, someone living centuries ago, creating an entire world in private, with a language only they could understand. Of course, the hoax theory refuses to die. Maybe it was crafted to impress Emperor Rudolph, convince him to part with his gold for a book no one could read. But again, no forger from that era had the skill to create something so linguistically consistent. Hoaxes tend to unravel when you look too close. The Voynich doesn't. Today, the manuscript lives at Yale University's Voynich Rare Book Library. It rests in a climate-controlled vault, but high-resolution scans are online for everyone to see. People from around the world gather on forums to pore over its pages. They trade theories about aliens, lost civilizations, even time travelers. It sounds absurd, but the truth is we don't know enough to rule anything out. And maybe that's what keeps us hooked. The Voynich Manuscript is a riddle, a time capsule, a mirror reflecting our need to find meaning in chaos. Every strange plant, every looping line of code, every tiny figure in a green bath, they whisper that there's something just beyond our reach. It makes us question what we know about language, about knowledge itself, about the limits of our understanding. More than a century after Wilfrid Voynich first held it in his hands, the manuscript is more famous than ever. It's inspired novels, documentaries, even video games. Yet its pages remain as silent as they were when first inked, sometime in the 15th century. Maybe one day someone will find the key that unlocks its secrets. Or maybe its secret is that there is no secret at all. Its true purpose might simply be to remind us that the world is still full of mysteries, waiting patiently for someone curious enough to ask the right questions. Until then, the Voynich Manuscript sits on its shelf, locked away behind glass, watching as generation after generation tries and fails to decode its strange alphabet. And if you're ever in New Haven, you can see it for yourself. Stand before its case, peer into its pages, and let your imagination run wild. Who knows? Maybe you'll be the one to solve history's most uncrackable code.